Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Takedown, a Jackrabbit Illustrated podcast, coming to you live on YouTube, Twitter, well, I guess X now, right? And Facebook. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, as always. We got Alex today, and we're also joined by our special guests, Moses and Moses Espinoza-Owens. So great to talk to these guys today, and we'd like to shout out our sponsor this year, Kubota Dealers in South Dakota. Anywhere you live in South Dakota, there's a Kubota dealer nearby. Now, y'all are welcome because I bought a brand new Kubota with a really nice, fancy snowblower on the front of the thing. And because of me, nobody's had to blow snow. So you're welcome. And Alex, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Chad?
Oh, not too bad. Gentlemen, it's good to see you. Nice to get a chance to meet you. I know everybody out there that's Jackrabbit wrestling fans excited to meet you guys. How you guys doing?
Doing great. I'm doing good too.
I don't know how this works as far as order. I'm just gonna assume you guys know. and
I'll let him go first.
Okay, because one of you is older, right?
Yeah, I am.
You are, okay. And so that's always been the way. One of you goes first. And so which one of you, now I gotta remember. Marcus, you wrestle at 157. Did I get that right?
We'll higher.
You're 65.
Yeah.
Your brother's one. Ah, gosh, I knew I was gonna get it wrong too. Well, that's a great foot to start on. Alex, what do you think?
I would have messed it up too because you guys look so similar out there and you wrestle very similar styles. I can never remember who's who either. So
yeah, there's a tell though. There's a tell.
Oh, yeah,
what's that?
Moses wears knee pads.
Oh,
sometimes, not all the time.
Sometimes. Moses also has glasses, at least in this setting. Is that true in general, or do you also wear glasses?
No, I have glasses.
Okay, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Did your parents get you by the wrong name on accident all the time as kids? Because I know my mom called me my brother's name, and we're not at all like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd like start down the line. It'd go like our oldest, and then like our two youngest, and then us, and then it'd be funny.
So how many siblings are there in your family?
So I have one stepbrother and then two half brothers, and then another half brother on my dad's side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been wrestling since you were about how old, would you say? Do you remember when you started?
7th grade, so like 12, I think. 12, 13. 12, 13. Somewhere around there.
And you're from Utah, right? Tell us a little bit about where you guys are from.
We're from like Bountiful area. It's a little north of Salt Lake. There's a club we wrestled out of called Sanderson Wrestling Academy. And it's it's where we learned all the good stuff. Yeah, and it's really pretty up there too, and there's a lot of like cool hiking spots and like lots of nature trails to go on if you're into that.
And you come out here and you can hike anywhere. It's not challenging. You just start walking and watch your brother walk away for a couple of days, right?
Yeah, maybe the wind will blow you back a couple feet.
Yeah, the wind probably is a bit jarring to you guys. I imagine you guys get that, but it's a pretty much constant around here, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure Alex has something.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, that's fine.
Freaking dog's barking and my headphones don't want to sync, so I'm on my computer speaker, so I hope that's not too...
No, you're not echoey. You're good.
Okay, good. So you guys kind of talked about starting out, grew up Utah, started wrestling about 7th grade. What kind of got you guys into the sport? Did one of you want to try it and the other decided to too? Because that's, especially for guys that are on a D1 roster, that's actually pretty late to get started for, what you'd expect. So maybe walk us through that side of it a little bit.
I don't know. It's not much of a story, really. I think our parents just wanted us to do something in middle school. They said like pick a sport, and there was like basketball or track or wrestling, and I was like, well, I'm not athletic enough to play basketball. I'm not tall, really. So and I didn't want to run, so it kind of left one option. I was like, yeah, we could try wrestling. That's how it kind of went down for me. I don't know about Marcus here.
Yeah. Well, me and Mose kind of always were wrestling around like at our house because we're pretty close in weight, obviously, and we'd always like roughhouse like late at night or just like whenever we could, basically. So we kind of just like our parents got us into it like when we were really young. They took us to like a wrestling camp or something, like those little camps they do for like little kids, like youth kids.
Yep.
So we did that, and then we did it with our stepbrother, and he didn't really like it that much. So we were just like, we were kind of just followers. We were following him, and so we're like, okay, well, if he doesn't like it, I don't like it. Like, I'm just gonna do what he does.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, you're real close in age, which means you probably fought a little bit. I don't know if you've ever heard of a person from South Dakota by the name of Brock Lesnar, but perhaps you know that name. And historically, the lore is that him and his brother would go to parties in high school, and when nothing was happening, just start fighting because there was nothing going on. So they'd get into like total brawls and start fights. And that's part of why Brock Lesnar is such a badass, because they just always fought.
Fair. What else is there to do in Webster other than fish?
Oh, okay. I mean, sure. I'm not going to assume these guys know where Webster is. I mean, the fact that they know where Brookings is kind of middle of nowhere, South Dakota.
Well, we can come back to that.
We can deal with it right now, too.
I was going to say, you guys, what are your guys' hobbies? I know we're not very deep into the wrestling thing, but part of the show, if you guys have listened to the other episodes of the other guys, we'd like to kind of get to know you guys, and obviously Jackrabbit Nation's behind you guys and supports you guys as athletes, but we like to give you a chance to get to know the people too. What are some things you guys like to do outside of wrestling? You like outdoors, so you like to hike. A little tough to do in Brookings unless you want to go a million times around the nature park, but what are some things you guys like to do when you're not training?
I'm a big gamer. I play lots of games. Okay. Yeah.
What's your go-to right now?
There's just one. It's like Rust, kind of. It's called Valheim. So it's like a Viking game. It's really cool. Been enjoying that a lot.
I'm more of a skateboarder, so I like skateboarding a lot. Like, I'll go out and do it like super late at night is probably the best time to do it, because it's like in the summer, like when it's cool, because it's like I'll skate for like an hour or two. It just gets really hot, so I really like doing that. But my coaches do not like me doing that.
I can imagine.
Yeah, they do not like me skateboarding.
You just running a standard board? Or back when I was in college, I had a buddy that had a couple different boards, and I skateboarded as a younger kid, but I've never really had my own board. But he let me borrow his longboard, and that was always fun to ride around campus. You got a longboard or a normal?
Just like on a normal board. I'd like try to do tricks. Like, I'm not like super good, but I can like jump over some stuff and like do a little turn and like turn my board. But I'm like not like I can't kickflip. I mean, I can kickflip, but not like consistently.
Sure.
So that's like kind of what I was working on this summer. I was like trying to kickflip and do that stuff.
And you're from Utah, so I imagine you guys have went into the mountains in the wintertime and done some winter sports, yeah?
Oh no! Surprisingly, not.
Yeah.
No. So you've never snowboarded, Mark?
No, or skied.
So it's weird the first time you snowboard if you're a skater, from personal experience, because on a skateboard you lean on your back foot and steer with your front, right? And if you didn't do that, it would not go well. You'd fall on your face. It's the opposite on a snowboard. So you got to lean on the front and steer with the back, and that's
That
when I
is
first
weird.
learned how to snowboard, that was really crazy for me. But yeah, that's not
Well,
wrestling at all, but it's cool.
Yeah, we've done some lake stuff though. I really like going out on the lake too.
You
Oh
ever
yeah,
guys go
lake stuff
fishing?
is
Going
really
boating,
fun.
like
No,
wakeboarding,
yeah, like
Oh,
or like
wakeboarding and stuff
surfing,
like
wake
that.
surfing. Not like fishing or like stuff
Uh,
like that, but just like fun stuff. Tubing. That's
There
yeah,
you go.
tubing's great. You
uh,
guys go hunting at all? Is anybody taking out hunting?
No, not
not
really.
yet.
TJ hasn't twisted your arm on that quite yet.
No.
I actually cannot shoot at all. I've tried and I'm really bad at shooting.
Mhm.
It's really funny.
Well, it's okay. You're not a South Dakotan. We won't. I have a bad eye. I used to be able to shoot, but my dominant eye went bad, so I can't shoot very well either. So
Yeah, that's tough.
So, what would you guys say? Maybe it's probably a little different for each of you, but I mean, I imagine somewhat of a choice you might have made a little bit together because you guys are, twins, and that's kind of how it goes with twins as far as I've ever understood. What was a major factor in deciding to come wrestle at South Dakota State?
Uh,
Or tell us your story. How'd you end up here? Maybe there's a better way to phrase that.
I would say like just the coaching staff. Honestly, I really like when I came out and took my visit. I really enjoyed what I felt in the environment I would be around, and then obviously the new facility is really nice. So
Yeah.
didn't hurt.
Same for you, Marcus?
Yeah, I really like the coaches and like some of the guys that we got to be around were pretty cool. So I just thought that was like exciting to be around. And then obviously like South Dakota wrestling is a good program. I was
Indeed.
excited to be a part of that, so I just thought it'd be sick to be here.
And you're both computer science, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
That's going well. Classes are good.
Yeah,
It's
so
going.
far.
It's going.
So far.
Yeah.
It's work being in college, isn't it? Especially
Yeah,
trying
it
to
is.
balance that with training, I imagine.
I know.
Are you guys training partners then with each other? Do you wrestle each other all the time, or you try and wrestle other people since
Yeah,
you're kind
most
of
of the time.
similar?
Wrestle Moses maybe like twice a month. I mean, we wrestle on the weekends, but we don't wrestle like live
Sure.
Yeah,
unless it's like
he's too
we
tough
can
now.
So, bit of an off the wall one here. We've got quite a bit of family matters on the team, especially with you guys. So we're gonna lock you guys, the Bergies, and the Swensons in a
nice.
cage.
I like it.
Which
Kale's not
brothers?
injured, right?
Yeah, assuming Kale's healthy.
Kale's healthy.
Kel has his ACL.
Which set of brothers walks out of that deal?
I mean,
I
You guys could be the
want to say
toughest.
me.
I want to say us, but
I don't know.
Then it's
Bergie's
big.
got a
then it's
yeah,
big.
and
Then it's
Coach
real big.
Coach Brady, yeah, he's gonna whoop on me.
Yeah.
Not
I
gonna
want to
go
say
well.
I've taken him down, but I haven't. I wish I could brag to you guys and be like, yeah, I've taken him down a bunch of times and turned him, put him on his back,
Just not the
headlocked
case.
him.
Have you won a hand fight with him?
Nah.
Have you got to a decent shot?
I don't know.
I got to a decent shot. I was in on his leg. I was like, I'm gonna finish, and then it was just like, oh, what happened? I was like, how'd this get away from me?
Well,
Yeah.
To be fair, he's got you by a few pounds, and a couple inches, right? He's a fair amount taller than you guys, isn't he?
Bennett, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm talking about Brady.
Yeah,
I was talking about Brady too.
Okay.
Oh no, he's not bigger than us.
Isn't he? Oh,
No.
okay. I guess I don't
Except
remember
us.
what weight he wrestled at. So
Yeah. He's like my weight. Well, he's lighter right now, I guess.
Oh,
He's
okay.
like 50. He walks around at like 160.
yeah, definitely Bennett's bigger than you guys for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, solid.
I have
muscle,
taken
too.
Bennett down though. I'm proud about that. I've taken him down.
Do you guys ever do goes with any of the coaches?
Yeah, we do. It doesn't always go well.
Yeah,
Oh.
I remember my first year here. I went with Simez, and it was like the introduction to college wrestling. I was like, this is what it's about.
This is different.
We went, and I think it was like there was 3 different goes, and like the first one was the longest, and then it got a little shorter, and then a little shorter, and as it got shorter, he like started going, like really going, because at first, like the first go, he like put me on my back and like held me on my back for like, I want to say forever, because it felt like forever. And then the second go, I was like, that's not happening again. I was like, I'm not getting held on my back like that again. And so I was like fighting a lot harder on bottom. I still didn't get away, but like he wasn't turning me. And then the last go, he took me down and cut me. Like, I think it was like it was like a 4 or 5 minute go, and I think he took me down like 20 times. Like he put it on me, and I was just like, after that practice, I got up. I was like walking around. I was like, what just happened? I was like, what was that? It was insane.
Got any fun stories like that yourself, Moses?
Not really. I mean, there was maybe a couple times whenever after practice or something, I asked Coach Cam to go with me, and we just went for like an extra 40 minutes or something. It was something super long. There was actually one morning. Coach Brady he wasn't feeling nice that day, and he just put a smack down on me.
That's what we like.
Yeah, I've never been more tired in my life, I don't think.
I think we like to refer to that as old man strength. It does.
Yeah,
it's
just
a thing.
Got me by spears. That's all.
So you guys have got a chance to work into the lineup a little bit early on this year due to some injury and just shuffling around a little bit. What's that been like? Is, still pretty young guys in the room, redshirt freshmen, getting an opportunity to compete at a high level and having a fair bit of success. What's that kind of been like for you guys?
I don't know. I'm just grateful to have an opportunity to go represent myself in Jackrabbit wrestling and what we're doing in the room every day.
Yeah, I mean, I love wrestling like a lot. So going out there and wrestling some guys is really fun. Like it's the most exciting thing for me, I guess. And so like when I get the chance to go compete, I love to go compete, I guess. And I think like I feel like this year I was a little like nervous about competing, but now I feel like I'm like I can compete with anybody, and that's exciting to me.
Well, you had a real easy one Friday night, but you hung right in there. So
yeah, that's an old teammate of mine too. Actually.
Oh, really? You guys are high school teammates?
Yeah.
Well, not high school, but club.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was like kind of like who I looked up to when I was like in high school because he was like a senior and I was a freshman. Well, no, I guess I was in 8th grade. I was gonna be a freshman that year,
Sure.
And he was like a senior. He was like committing and stuff. So I was just like I really looked up to him, and like I took him down like maybe twice. I was like, okay. I was like, he's really good, and I looked up to him a lot. So it was just like. It was kind of cool to go wrestle him, but I think I obviously could have wrestled better.
I thought you did pretty well given the circumstances, and I know you guys follow the national stuff too, and I think it's just how crazy is it that you get a guy like that who's buried behind Mesa Brink, so he transfers, and all of a sudden he's number 3. So Penn State had the number 1 and number 3 guys at that weight last year. That's just stupid.
I feel like that's partially what makes them really good is they just
absolutely
a bunch of really good guys behind each other, and so they like iron sharpens iron, I guess, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. It makes it tough when you can't wrestle in the duels and you want to be out there on the mat. But you guys have gotten a lot of tournament experience. Do you guys have a favorite tournament? Do you like the tournament formats more, or you more of duel guys? I know we're big proponents of duels from a fan standpoint, but as far as a wrestler, you get to wrestle more matches, but it's kind of tough to put all that effort in 1 day or 2 days a lot of times.
Yeah, I would say I'm more of a tournament guy. I just like going out and crushing as many dudes as I can in 1 day.
There we go. I love it.
Yeah, I also really like tournaments, but I'm like kind of torn because duels are really fun because of like the atmosphere. Like I really like the atmosphere in duels, and you just don't get that at tournaments. So it's like I wish it was like a duel tournament and we wrestled like 5 matches and everyone was there and they were just cheering the whole time. That'd be sick.
Yeah, they're working on that. We brought it back this year, the NWCA national duels, and we participated in that. And I don't know what next year holds because they put a bunch of money up for the teams next year to actually win. If you win the deal, so it's probably going to bring in some of the bigger names next year.
Well, it sounds like everyone but Iowa is committed at this point, which I can't imagine why they wouldn't. But
their coaching staff probably. I have nothing against them, but they tend to do things their own way. That's what I mean by that. So don't take that the wrong way.
Iowa's an interesting
school.
Interesting story.
Yeah. Did you guys have some other schools you looked at coming out of high school?
Like some Ivy League schools.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
or
it was like Brown and Penn.
Sure.
But I don't know. There wasn't a ton of communication back and forth. I mean, I guess we did get some calls from some texts from Princeton too, but I don't know really what happened.
Sure. We're glad you guys are here. You guys are both
definitely
exciting to watch. And
Yeah.
obviously, as young as you guys are, there's high hopes for your futures as well. What's been – we kind of touched on some of this with Zach last week, if you listened to that at all. And I'm not saying you guys did or offended if you didn't. But Utah is a little different than coming from, Albert Lee or Iowa City. So you guys might have better answers, not that Zach's answers were bad, but what's been kind of some of the good and bad of moving from Utah to Brookings? We touched on, you guys really avid hikers, stuff like that. Obviously can't do quite as much of that unless you're wanting to drive out West River. Palisades actually has some decent trails. I don't know if you guys have been down there in Sioux Falls. My wife and I go down there once in a while. We're big into that too. But yeah, what adjusting to life in Brookings the last year and a half, what's that been like? What's been the ups, the downs, anything in between for any potential recruits that might be listening? Because we want to show everyone the good and the bad here.
Well, I mean, something that was definitely different for me is like the weather. It's easy to say. It's like freaking cold up here.
I was gonna say, you mean to tell me Bountiful doesn't get this cold?
No, no, never. So it's definitely an adjustment you have to make. But I think one good thing is it's just really easy to. If I feel a little more like it's easier to focus out here in South Dakota. I mean, there's just like it feels a little isolated, so it feels really cool to just like go back to work, just keep going to the facility, and you really just can really focus on yourself and your training and stuff. So
it's like when Rocky trained in Siberia.
Yeah.
This is our Siberia.
We just called South Dakota Siberia. That where I thought we'd
I was
go
just
this podcast.
making a comparison to one of my favorite movies, Chad.
No, that's fine. Hey, no, I get it. You're not wrong in the
Right.
fact that it's isolated. Now, we do have more than one sponsor. Kubota is one of our sponsors, but also Culver's, and we have Cubbies. Cubbies is a great sponsor of Jackrabbit's athletics, and I imagine you guys have went down there and probably got a burger or something.
Yeah.
What's your guys' go-to meal down at Cubbies?
The steak chislick.
Ooh,
That stuff
Oh,
is
you're
so
a
good.
Chislick guy.
So good.
Had you had Chislick before you came from you came
No.
to South Dakota?
No, I didn't.
Somebody told you that's a South Dakota food?
I think it was Bennett. Bennett told me to get it one time. I was like, okay, trusting you, man.
Ranch?
Yeah.
yeah, I got
Super
the
good,
homemade
super
Cubbies
good.
ranch. Can't go wrong. What about you, Marcus?
I really like the wings. I'm
Yeah.
a big wing guy right now. I love the wings. I
have some-
haven't got a lot of sauces though. I've only got like the gold sauce and then just like the buffalo sauce.
Their gold sauce.
I haven't
is so
branched
good,
out.
though.
Yeah, it is really good.
No ranch, you said?
No, I said I haven't branched out.
Oh,
But I
branch.
do like ranch. Yeah.
I didn't know if because you dip your wings sometimes.
Yeah, you
I
have
do.
to. You have to have the ranch.
Right? Ranch is you're in the Midwest. You got to have some ranch. You got to have some mayonnaise on your sandwiches. That's just me anyway. I grew up here. We're talking about weather being bad, and the German in me says there's no such thing as bad weather, just inappropriate clothing. So you dress warm enough, it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah.
You guys run outside in the winter at all? Does the team ever do that, or just
No.
all the cardio's indoors these days on treadmills and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, conditioning just usually goes right after practice. So
Sure.
nice. You got big windows to see outside, but don't have to go outside.
Yeah.
You want to challenge yourself a little bit, get some layers on, go out for a 4-mile run when it's this temperature out, and you're gonna feel it in your lungs, and you'll just be that much more of a man.
Yeah. Obviously.
Gotta warm up before I go out there. My knees are gonna start hurting.
That's how you end up with a beard like this. I used to run 4 miles a night when I was in high school wrestling. Of course, that was 30 years ago. But and believe it or not, I weighed 189 pounds back then. So
Oh yeah.
a lot of pounds ago. Yeah. So what if you guys were to claim a signature move, what would you claim, or what's a move you like when you're out on the mat? What are you leg riders? Tell people about your style a little
Something you want to drill over and over again.
Boots, ankles.
I would like to do like
mat returns. What
like high crotches or like
ICs?
Yeah, or like outside step reach in or sneak step. That's what I call it. But yeah, I mean, I love just kind of picking guys up and slamming them down. If I can get under a guy and high crotch them and just pick them up, yeah, feel pretty good.
So did you learn any mat returns from Tanner Sloan last year then? Because he was pretty good at mat returns.
I mean, he was too big for me. I didn't really ever wrestle him one time.
Well, you could watch him though, right? Maybe your new coach, the guy that used to be on the team last year.
Yeah.
Carlson.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at mat returns too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like mat returns aren't really a super
Yeah, you're right. But they're
technique,
fun to watch.
Yeah,
They're fun to watch.
They're just kind of just like an effort thing where you just pick up a guy and you want to slam him down.
Yeah, my favorite move would probably be a re-attack, just like anything where I can like get the corner and just like be really quick on a guy. I really like those because I'm not like the fastest guy, but like sometimes I can like explode in there, and so it makes me feel good. Like it makes me feel quick, and I really like that. Or like, I mean, I haven't ankle picked anybody like in a match besides like high school. Not a college match, not a collegiate match. I haven't ankle picked anybody. but like a nice ankle pick, that'd be sick.
I started wrestling as a heavyweight, and that was the shot for a heavyweight was an ankle pick.
Yeah.
It was that or you got fatted on, so you got to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the moves I like are like flashy ones that usually like don't win like the big matches, but I like those moves. Like they're fun to do.
The chicks dig them, so someone's got to try them.
Yeah, someone's got to do them. Might as well be me.
Besides the married women being drugged by their husbands, how many chicks do we get at wrestling meets?
I don't think it's a lot. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, they got to know or like somebody on the team. There are women
right.
there are women that are into wrestling. We had one that was one of our student managers, and she ended up working for USA Wrestling, Meredith. So you probably didn't meet her. Maybe you guys have met her if you were down.
Oh, we met her at I met her at Air Force. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might have met her at Air Force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really like chat her up, but I saw her. So
yeah. She's been on the podcast. She's a really interesting person to talk to too, because you don't get that many gals that are into wrestling. Although women's wrestling is becoming a big thing, and I'm all for it.
Did a women's quad last night.
Did you? Yeah, Alex refs, by the way, in case
I ref high school.
That's not obvious.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm curious, and you both may have different answers. Who's your favorite guy to watch wrestle then? Or maybe this is a two-part question. Who's your favorite to wrestle? Who would you like to wrestle more like? Technique-wise, who would you like to be like? I mean, they could be the same guy, obviously, but they could be different. And why is it Luke?
It's definitely not Luke.
Definitely Luke Raz.
That Ras is sounds awesome for a heavyweight. Give the guy.
It is.
Props.
It is good, yeah. I mean, we wrestled the other day too.
You wrestled Luke?
Yeah.
Is he quicker than you expected, or what?
I wouldn't say that. I would say.
Okay.
I would say he's longer than I thought. Yeah, for sure.
A long way to get a shot in on him, huh?
Yeah, it is. But I would say I think my favorite wrestler would be probably some foreigner, like Japanese guy. His name's Odoguro.
Yeah,
he's like my favorite guy to watch. He won the Olympics, not this year, but last cycle.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely one of my favorite guys to watch. And if I could wrestle like him, it'd be so sick. He's just such a dog.
Yeah, he's super fast. Like he's probably like one of the fastest guys I've seen wrestle.
That is. How about the favorite guy to watch out on the mat on the team?
I really like watching. Let's see.
Marcus?
Yeah, I like watching Marcus. I mean, get a little more amped up watching Marcus than I do probably anybody else.
Yeah, I know you were going to say something else, so go ahead. I was just joking with you there, but
I think probably Bennett would be one of my other favorites to watch, just because I think he's going to try to put points up on the board no matter what. So, yeah,
he definitely doesn't hang back, right? He's pretty explosive himself. How about you, Marcus?
I'm like torn on my favorite wrestler to watch because I used to watch a lot of wrestling, but like I haven't watched that much. Like I should be watching more. But I think
don't worry, your coaches do listen to this.
But this young Japanese guy, Ono.
Yep.
Yeah, I like watching him a lot, and I really liked watching Sidakov wrestle.
Yep.
Sure.
Those two guys wrestle hard, and I like that.
And how about someone from the team?
I actually do really like watching Ras wrestle.
Yeah.
I love watching Ras wrestle, actually.
I can't watch when he rolls around on his back.
Wrestle, I'm like, I'm like screaming. I'm like, yes. Or maybe like no. It's like it's either yes or no. It's like some of the It's
I could tell he always wants to put boots in, which is strange for a lot of heavyweights. I love that personally.
He scares me when he puts boots in though.
Oh yeah, he's just rolling across his back.
Like those heavyweights are like flattening out and like trying to pin him, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna get pinned. I'm getting nervous.
I thought it was interesting you guys both brought up Japanese guys because I actually really like Ray Higuchi, who I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
Yeah, a little bit
lighter guy, but the Olympics this last year, always Spencer Lee just could not get to his legs. It was like, and we saw what Spencer Lee did to guys here for years. He could score whatever he wanted, and he goes against Higuchi and he can't get in on a shot. It was incredible to see, and I think that just that Japanese style of hand fighting right now is so dominant, and I definitely think just USA, if we want to get back to the top, it was the Iranian, Russian stuff, we're competing with for a while there, but just like I said, that especially those lighter weights, that Japanese hand fighting right now is just so tough. It's hard to get an angle or a window to really get a good shot in if you have good hands defense. It's not new either. It's something I was being preached to in high school 13 years ago.
Yeah, they do a really good job of staying in a good stance and like keeping their elbows in and wrestling like this, hands together and stuff. And they're really quick from the outside. Like a lot of their guys are like real quick from the outside. So they'll like hand fight you, and then like they'll wait till like you're really close to contact, and then they'll like shoot from the outside. They're really good at that though.
It's like the hand fighting's a distraction.
Yeah.
So, who's the hardest guy that you've wrestled so far in your career? Like, what's your toughest match? Whoever go first, but
I'd say this year, during the Bison Open, I would say I wrestled this kid called Charlie Millard.
Yep.
Sure. Yep.
And I don't know, it might have been like my first time making weight, but that was like just the most exhausted I've ever been in a match. And it was just ridiculous. I was like, man, that was 7 minutes only. It felt like 20. It was a long match for me. But yeah, it was a tough one.
I think my toughest one, like the one I got the most tired in, would have to be like basically any of them from national duels, because I was actually like I had the flu that week.
Oh, sure.
And I was like planning. Yeah, I was like planning on like just staying back, sleeping in, and then I'm like sleeping in till like 11 o'clock. Because I talked to our athletic trainer, and I was like, yeah, I just went to like the what's it called?
Urgent care,
like by Lewis. It's just
Sanford.
Yeah, Sanford. I went over there and like got checked in, and they're like, yeah, you have like influenza. I was like, okay. I was like, that's fine. So I was just texting our athletic trainer, and he's like, yeah, okay. And so I just kind of thought, I was like, okay, I'm not going. Like, that's it. Because he texted me, but the way he texted me, I didn't read it that well, but he said, like, you're not traveling with the team. But I kind of just thought I wasn't
still traveling.
You're still traveling, just not with the team.
Yeah, I didn't read it that well, but he said it in a funny way, and I like was already in bed, so I was just like, okay, I'm not going, whatever. So I sleep in. It's like 9 o'clock when he sent me that text. Like after he sent me that text, it was like 9 a.m. Because I got up and texted him that. I checked my weight. I'm like, I'm not that over. Like, I could still make weight. It's okay. But then I go and drink, like, a crap ton of water because I'm like, I'm not wrestling. I got to, like, push fluids, stop getting sick. Sense. And so I do that, go back to bed. And then, like 2 or 3 hours later, I wake up and I see like 5 missed calls from like each of my coaches, like 3 texts from one of our coaches. And I was like, it's like, oh boy. I was like, what did I do? And so I was like, I just started with the text because like they're easy to read. And he's texting me and he's like, you must feel really good after sleeping in this long. He's like, let's go. Like, we got to go. And I was like, okay, I'm still going. And so I went over to the facility. I worked out again. And then we got on the road. And I was like wearing a mask and stuff. And it was just a funny experience, I guess.
That's a good story.
That's definitely a fun one. You guys both kind of touched it in your own roundabout ways. What's part of your nutrition plan? I'm sure same as everyone else, a lot of lean chicken, vegetables, stuff like that. But what's kind of your nutrition plan to kind of stay close on weight? And then
they're shaking their head.
I'm not good at making weight.
Maybe
you should ask me.
I'm
Don't
figuring
ask
it
him.
out.
Don't
I'm
ask
still
him.
figuring it out, Well, I know what to eat. I just can't do it.
So I was
You got to be careful. You'll end up looking like me, bud.
That was gonna be the second part of my question. You get off the scale. What are you stuffing in your face right away? Mine was, if it was when I was in high school, my senior year, I cut quite a bit of weight. My walking around weight was probably 197, but I wrestled 182. And so if it was like an evening duel, first thing off the scale, I had to have a Jimmy John sandwich. Like that was like Jimmy John sandwich, big Gatorade, like get ready to go. And if it was an all-day tournament, so you're waiting in the morning, it was like, just standard bacon, egg, and cheese croissant. But what do you guys, off the scale, reward yourself a little bit for making weight and get some fuel in your body, kind of trying to do both at the same time?
I think I don't really reward myself until like after the tournament. Like I'll be eating clean up until like right after, and then I'm just like, now it was time to maybe get some like ice cream or something. I don't know.
Is ice cream your
Yeah.
go-to there?
Yeah.
What's your favorite flavor and why is it cookies and cream? Because it was invented at South Dakota State University. You knew that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only.
I mean, I just like I'll eat like any ice cream really. So like just anything I can get my hands on. But yeah, I mean, I need to do a better job definitely next year and leading into these tournaments in the spring and the later months. Definitely gonna do a better job controlling my weight and stuff. So
there's actually a really great place called Simple Servings, like in the Union.
Oh,
that must be known.
They have
I
super
don't know
clean
about
food.
that. Yeah,
They have
Yeah,
super
like I
clean
didn't
food.
graduate college 9 years ago.
Yeah, so
Nine.
I go there
Nice.
like every day basically. And then sometimes if I like want to treat myself, I'll go to Qdoba.
There you go.
What-
I'm a big
what's
dough.
your-
Qdoba's good.
what do you go with at keto? The burritos or the
I just go with the
tacos?
bowl.
yeah.
Yeah, the bowl.
You go healthy. What's your
Yeah, I
guilty
still go healthy, but it's
What's
just
your guilty
better.
pleasure, Marcus?
It's
If
all the
you're
cheese
gonna have
that I
something
add
like
on top
you're
of
gonna
it.
do
The cheese
something
is so
that's not
good.
clean. What's your guilty pleasure?
I really like brownies and like baked goods and ice cream. I'm not like a big
Still
candy guy. Like I don't really like candy that much. But like any baked goods besides cake is really good. And ice
Nice.
cream. I also love ice cream like Moses does.
Man, you guys are taking me back to like you get out of class and it's like a warmer than usual day.
Right to the dairy
And-
bar.
Yep. I used to have my sophomore year, a bunch of us, they had too many kids sign up for one of our engineering math classes. So they had it in the basement of Hanson's. A bunch of us were walking together from Crothers to Hanson. And it was like, all right, it's kind of like we had a couple weeks ago. It's January and it's 50 degrees. Let's all stop in the dairy bar in between classes.
Yes, let's go. I would love doing that. I actually, after the season ends, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to the dairy bar for like a week straight, probably.
Dude, the ice cream at SDSU is so good.
It's so good. I don't know what it is. Like, I get the cookies and cream, and I'm like, it's the best.
It's the original, I'm big on the Revel. I think they say Revel, like the blueberry and the, sorry. We should just stop talking about food in front of guys that eat or try to eat clean.
To control their weight, unlike Chad and I.
I mean, the only one that gets mad at me if I gain weight is the doctor. So I'm at that point in life. So lots of fun there. But I had something else, but now I forgot. Sorry, Alex.
No, you're good, Chad. What, kind of talked about what you enjoyed so far. What's maybe something towards the end of the year you're looking forward to, whether that's Big 12s or national tournament, stuff like that. And obviously a little bit of shuffling the lineup, so opportunities will be maybe a little scarce there at times, or maybe some events coming up towards the end of the year here you guys are looking forward to.
I'm not quite sure because I'm obviously I don't know what's going through the coach's mind, so I don't know the lineup. But I mean, we're still so more towards like the end of the school year. We still are U20 eligible, so
Sure.
We will still be able to wrestle at that U20s and try to make a world team spot or try to get a spot in the tournament to make the world team. So I think that'll be really fun.
I'll let you answer too here, Marcus, but just while we're talking, Moses, you prefer freestyle, folk style, or just like being on the mat?
I mean, the mat element is fun, and I think you could get guys a lot more tired in folk style. But freestyle is just more like you can't make as many mistakes. Like,
sure.
Well, I guess you can because it's really easy to score points, but it's just a little different. I think I enjoy them both, and I think both of them are good. Like, I think both of them are fun. So, I mean, I love just going out and wrestling. So,
Marcus, what events are you kind of looking forward to the rest of the season here?
Same as him. U20s is awesome. It's in Vegas, and who doesn't love that?
Right.
Like, going out there, it's super warm. It's like one of like the only nice wrestling. Like when we went to Cal Baptist, that was sick too, because it's like it's nice over there. Like, because usually wrestling events aren't like in the nicest places, just because like there's not like a ton of money in wrestling. But like when you get to go out to nice places, it's super fun too. And like going out to Vegas is awesome. Like the casino's huge, and wrestling over there is super fun. But my answer to the question you had for freestyle or folk style is similar to Moses's. But if you asked me like 2 years ago or like 3 years ago when I was still in high school, I would have said freestyle because it's just
easy.
It's way fun to throw people like for 5 if you can sometimes, or like slam them really hard. But like in folk style, you're like, okay, I got to get my takedown. And you're like trying to get your takedown. But in freestyle, you can just like start running out of bounds and like duck your head and try to put him on his back, and you get 4.
Yeah, and the United States, we're kind of the bastions of the folk style. So I'm more of a folk style guy myself, but freestyle's cool, and I've gotten more into it as I watched more of it. There's people pushing for push out points in the NCAAs. I'm not a fan. I think I like the 3-point takedown. Personally, I think was a good rule change. Mm-hmm. Although I've advocated personally for a reversal being worth the same because
I disagree.
Reversals aren't easy in my opinion. I know. I'm Maybe because I'm ahead. I wrestled heavyweight in '97 and I was 89 actually in college, in high school. But since I wrestled at the heavier weights, for me that was tougher. So I probably have a skewed. And go ahead, chime in, Alex.
Both as an official and former competitor, I like rewarding the aggression. Let's reward that guy that takes the risk.
But if you start on bottom in the second period, it's not, it's an aggressive.
Yeah, but you get an opportunity to hold the guy down.
So,
you get 2 points.
So turn the guy or cut him or go get a takedown.
Yeah, okay, sure, fine, whatever. I'll remind.
I actually really like the way the rules are right now. I feel like they're perfect. I feel like stalling. The only thing is stalling. That's like the only thing that's like iffy because refs call it differently. Like a bunch of refs call it differently. So it's just like it's hard. It's hard for them. It's hard for like the competitors to tell. So I think that's like the only thing that's like iffy. It's like the judgment calls.
And that's just where I was going to go with it, Marcus. I'll say this as someone who admittedly could be more consistent in my stall calls, and I'll be the first to admit that. It's anytime you have a judgment call, it's just – I don't know how we get away from it. How do you make – unless you go to like a freestyle passivity rule, which I actually would advocate for.
Yeah, I'd be for that.
I don't know how you take the subjectivity out of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Watching that duel Saturday and being on wrestling Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. There's people pushing for taking knee being a stalling, and I could see it. Like, that team, Wyoming in particular, seemed to like to, when we're up, take a knee. It's hard. How do you shoot on a guy that's taking a knee, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Closes off a lot of angles.
Sure does.
Yeah.
You can't do an ankle pick, I think that's something that could be added into the rule sets, and I'd be all for it.
Yeah, I definitely think it'd be something to just look at. Like, if a guy's on his knee, you just kind of have to wrestle a little different. Yeah.
I mean, just taking a knee like momentarily is one thing, but like sitting on that knee, that's to me is kind of stalling. I agree with that.
Yeah. I think they should because I don't really know what they do for like refs and stuff for like stalling. Like if it's just they like talk to them about it, but I feel like there should be like something where it's like a bunch of them. Like there should be criteria for stalling, and then it should be like kind of what they should look for, and it should be like in a rule book or something.
Like
I can't speak to the NCAA side of it, but for high school, there is, but there isn't. There's specific situations where it's look for this. Like for example, we got a guy in rear standing position going to return a guy. We're going to the edge. If the guy in rear standing is on his heels trying to keep the other guy in bounds, we're gonna go out. Continuation. But if he's on his toes driving the guy out, then boom, we're going to pop him. So that's just one down and dirty. So there are some specific cases, but the way, like I said, I don't know the NCAA rule book as well. But the way the high school rule is written it's completely up to interpretation. It's any act that is actively avoiding scoring or wrestling. So it's like.
Yeah. And that's hard. That's such a wide.
So like fleeing, obviously,
Well, so fleeing is a separate call entirely.
Well, it is, but it's just a form of stalling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys grew up together. You got to be competitive with each other all the time, right? That's fair to say?
Yeah.
Do we keep score then? Like who's ahead in the series?
No. I just remember the days that I beat down on him sometimes. I'm like, yep. Really that time?
So Marcus gets the better of you more often than not, Moses? Or
I would say so because I've always been really bad with cutting my weight. So it's just like I'll be cutting my weight and I need him as a partner and he's just being me down. So
Just got to stay away from that ice cream. My guilty pleasure is chips. I'll be honest, man. Chips and nachos are like top of that because I get chips and tacos, right?
Yes, they're so good. I've been craving nachos recently.
Well, Cubby's has some pretty good nachos.
Next recovery day, get down to Cubby's, get some nachos.
Yes. That'll have to be a game plan this Saturday.
I hope we didn't derail your guys' diets by talking about food so much on this podcast. We didn't plan on that, but yeah. Anything else?
I feel like because of the weight management side, food is almost part of wrestling, though. Like in a weird
100%
way.
Yeah.
I mean, after I made weight because I used to have to cut to make 89. There's no way I'd make it today. I'd have to lose over 100 pounds. Yeah, sad but true. I always went with like just a pound of spaghetti, man. Spaghetti was my thing.
That sounds horrible.
That sounds
awesome.
so bad.
That doesn't sound good.
Oh no, it was so good because like spaghetti's it's a good carbohydrate to load your body with before a match.
It feels so heavy. So like, don't you feel heavy after that?
My mom had these Tupperware, like this round Tupperware.
Yeah, I could just imagine
that thing.
It's funny you mention that. So my uncle's old engine guy, which doesn't mean anything to you guys, but my uncle,
he's a racer.
Chad and Jordan and I, it's like a weird racing crossover podcast sometimes because we're all involved in racing in various levels over the years. My dad and uncle used to have a race team. And so their old engine guy was an old school wrestler back in the day. Don Chase is his name. He's an awesome guy, still around. He's actually trying to set a land speed record at 87 years old.
Nice.
But anyhow, Don and I, we're riding the truck to the track one day, and Don goes, What do you do after you make weight? And I told him the same thing I just told you guys, like, if it's a daytime or evening event, I really just that Jimmy John's sandwich and a little bit of fruit and a Gatorade goes a long way for me. Or if it's the morning, I got to have a breakfast sandwich and some yogurt and some orange juice really perks me up after making weight. And he goes, No, I'll tell you what you got to do. He said, back when I wrestled for Omaha North in 1950, whatever, he goes, after I got off the scale, he goes, you take just a regular old can of Campbell's soup and you just pop the top off and you drink it.
You know how much salt that is?
You drink it. That's actually good, though.
More energy on scale than just a plain can of Campbell's soup. And so Chad Spaghetti kind of reminded me of that.
Hey, man, I'm old enough. We only ever weighed in first thing in the morning. So my breakfast was spaghetti, which is kind of weird, but heat that stuff up in a microwave. Spaghetti.
That's an odd after weighed food.
I'm an odd person. What can I say?
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this is your chance to maybe tell Jackrabbit Nation anything you'd want them to know about you. I mean, we got a few minutes here left. Tell us a bit about yourselves, something you guys would like to get folks to know. Maybe it's is an interesting fact, a fun fact, or a fun story you have, or
and it can't be
who's funnier, maybe who's the funniest guy in the room, whatever you guys want to tell.
The funniest guy in the room, just like random times, I would give Kel Swinson.
Nice.
No way.
You don't think so? What?
No way. It's Coach Simez. Coach Simez.
Well, yeah, like Coach Simez, and then
hilarious all the time
on the team. Like
He's
wrestlers.
Wrestlers. If we're talking strictly wrestlers, it has to be Jared Terry.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, that guy. He's in there too. I think Kale's hilarious though. He's so funny.
Yeah, a lot of those guys are actually pretty funny though. But I feel like Simez is the funniest by far, and just the strangest guy I've met. but I love him so much.
Simus is a hoot. You're right about that. I like
Cam,
him too.
I love talking to Cam because he's kind of all over the place. Like, you don't know where his stream of consciousness is going to take you next.
We had him on the
Yeah,
podcast
so
last
funny.
year, and it was epic because I'm a little ADD myself. And dude, he can, because he'll hit you with a question. And you're like, where'd that come from? That's a great question, but like we were talking about something else over here, man. Like I did not expect that. So yeah, he keeps you on your toes, definitely. Anything else you want the folks to know about the Espinoza-Owens brothers?
I'm gonna try to make some wrestling content this summer, so stay tuned.
There you go.
You're gonna make
Is
some
that going to be on
content.
your guys' Insta, Twitter, both?
YouTube.
Holy Mosey, I think. Pretty sure.
Yes.
I gotta check.
Holy
I gotta
Mosey.
check. Yeah, Holy Mosey with 3 instead of an E.
Where can folks
That's
find
kinda-
that at? Instagram?
IG.
Okay.
Yep.
Everyone go
That's kind of
follow.
like your email. Yeah.
Everyone go follow
his
Holy
keys.
Mosey after this if you're listening.
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah, so-
Well, we'll ask you guys just to stay on with us a little bit here after we're done, just to tie some loose ends here. But how about a Go Jacks on 3? You want to count us down, Alex?
Sure. 3, 2, 1.
Go,
Go
Jacks.
Jacks.
Let's go.